Welcome to American History Live's new podcast. Every other week, I, Abigail Adams, will discuss American revolutionary history and the foundations of this great nation. Today, I have a very special guest, one of the other historical figures here at American History Live. Please help me welcome Prince Hall. Thank you, Mr. Hall, for joining us today.
Hello, Mrs. Adams. Thank you for having me with you today.
Mr. Hall, many individuals watching with us today may be unaware of your contributions to America. Can you begin with your background?
I would be pleased to. I was born in the 1730s. In the 1700s, in colonial America, the vast majority of people of African descent were held in slavery. Unfortunately, I was one of the nearly 100,000 people who were legally recognized as owned by another. By the age of 10 years old, I was held as a slave by William Hall, a leather tanner in the British colony of Massachusetts.
Did being a slave in Massachusetts affect your experiences, particularly compared to the lives of the majority of those held in bondage in the Americas being held in the southern and middle colonies?
Yes, it did. Unlike the majority of African slaves in the original 13 colonies, I did not work on a large plantation with other slaves. In New England, most slaves were held by individuals who had 1 to 3 slaves, as was the case with William Hall. I also did not perform farm labor. William Hall trained me in leather tanning. Of course, this trade would only benefit William Hall, as my labor was not my own. That is until 1770.
What changed in 1770?
Well, by 1770, William Hall was an American patriot. He supported the American independence movement, and he finally recognized the inherent contradiction in asking for liberty for himself while denying it to me. With liberty, I was finally able to enjoy the fruits of my labor and not live under the bondage of another. I was free. This freedom was obtained by manumissions, meaning I was free not by government decree or purchasing my freedom. I was voluntarily released by William Hall.
After beginning your work and seeing the British encroachments on colonial freedom here in the colonies, did you support the American independence movement?
I did. On July 3rd, 1777, I petitioned the Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army, George Washington himself, to allow individuals of African descent to fight for independence. I am proud to say that 5,000 black men eventually served in the Continental Army.
That's wonderful. I know you also did a lot for the local community around you in Boston. Many viewers may wonder why you are dressed the way you are. Would you care to explain?
Yes, this is the traditional outfit that I would wear during my role as worshipful master of African Freemason Lodge number 1. On March 6, 1775, I, along with 14 other freemen of African descent, created the first African Freemason Lodge in Boston, Massachusetts. We served our community, helping those in need and providing services to our community.
Mr. Hall, I also know that you were one of America's earliest abolitionists.
In 1777, I, along with my fellow African Freemasons, sent a petition to the Massachusetts Assembly to end slavery. The cause of liberty sought by American patriots should not be reserved for only white men. It should be for all people. Ignored at first, eventually the 1780 Massachusetts Constitution would make it clear that slavery had to end in the state. It took a series of cases ending by 1783. Now, I know your husband, Mr. John Adams, played a role in this.
Yes, I'm very proud to say that John Adams was the primary writer of the Massachusetts Constitution, which states all men are born free and equal.
Absolutely. Slavery was and always shall be against the ideals of American independence.
Thank you, Mr. Hall.